What up y'all, Chris from the Unrelenting Brush checking in, and it's finally time for this Mordor Orc painting video for Middle-earth. Let's get on it. So here next to the Uruk-hai we painted a few weeks back, the Uruk-hai is obviously very dark. We started with a black undercoat and the Mordor Orc starting from a zenithal of white. So we want this guy to be dark. He's a villain, he's an orc, he's a nasty little critter that runs around stabbing men because he enjoys it. So we're going to use a lot of contrast paints here to bring that back down to darkness, and then use subtle highlights just to get some prominent points showing. We're also going to do a little bit of freehand on the shield, so we get a nice little red eye to show his affiliation to the Dark Lord Sauron. All in all, this shouldn't take long. I'm going to freestyle some of the colours and just go as we go, so let's get started. First up, we're going to hit some of the leather with this Garreg Sewer. It's become one of my favourite new contrast paints that came out recently. So we're going to do this on his kind of underskirt thing, the bottom half of his tunic, which is going to fill that in and make it all a really nice dark leathery brown. If you need references for this, check out the Games Workshop website. I'm going to try and follow it close to that as possible with a little bit of a freestyling and colour choices as we go. Once that's on, get your Black Templar. I'm going to use this for the shield and the hair. So again, don't be delicate, don't be neat, lob it on there. Once I did the hair, I realised I'm going to use this on the kind of plate mail shirt he's got on. Because this will basically be like re-priming it ready for when we put that metallic on there, so it'll kind of shade it for us. So once we put that dark metallic on there, the Black Templar will be the shade underneath, and it'll look really nice and dark and menacing. Up next, Wildwood. We're going to do this for the sleeves and his shoes. So there's a lot of different browns on these orcs. With Middle-earth in general, there tends to be a lot of light armour that's leather. So get yourself plenty of brown paints in your collection and you can really just like go to town on it. Any varied browns would be nice. So Wildwood for the sleeve and the shoes, the Garreg Sewer for the underskirt, and that is just about there for now. Up next, Aggaros Dunes. We're going to use that for the inside of the shield to give it more of a kind of dead, dried wood effect. We can do that little bit of brightness on here because this model is going to be very dark. So use this to add that nice little spot of colour for the front profile of this handsome chapo. Over to Snakebite Leather, one of my favourites. We're going to use this for the straps that attach the bracer to his wrist, the shield to his arm, and the haft of the pick that he's got. So I used a fairly big brush for this. You can use like a smaller zero brush, but I just wanted to prove that this is not an exercise in neatness or finesse or technique. This is very much getting colours on, getting this Mordor Orc looking dark, grimy and villainous, so that you can get 24 of these guys wiped out in a day, get them on the table, ready to bring the end to the Age of Men. Brap. Now we're onto the skin. We're going to use Basilicanum Grey for this, just as a base layer. So orc skin in Lord of the Rings, they're varying different colours from greens to tans to bones to dark greys and blacks. Again, check the website for references or just watch the films and get plenty of references from there. So we're going to go for Basilicanum Grey for this, for all the skin. I'm also going to use this to go over the remaining metallic bits as, again, kind of like a re-primer, a base layer. So the bracer, the helmet, you could do the rim of the shield if you wanted, but I chose not to because I don't think it would make an enormous difference. So that's pretty much all the base layers down in the form of contrast, so all we've got left to do is do a few subtle highlights and then bring on the metallics. He's suitably dark, he's suitably grimy, so let's try and bring it up just a little bit. So we're going in for some subtle highlights. I'm using this pale brown from Game Colour. Their paints are great, really nice solid matte finish. So I'm just going to really kind of haphazardly pick a few highlights, the few arched folds in the leather where the light's going to hit them the most, a little bit of an edge highlight using the side of my brush. Again, there's not a lot of delicacy or finesse in this, there's not a lot of thought or planning. We just want to bring that leather up just a little bit to add a little bit more interest to a lot of the dark colours on this model. So go around here, do his skirt, his tunic, the sleeves. I'll also do a little bit on the straps that we painted with Snakebite Leather. Not a colour I'd have chosen initially, but it felt like it was going that way, and it looks fine once it's on there. Again, never be afraid to try something. If you're not sure how it's going to work, you can always fix it and go over it. At the end of the day, painting is about having a good time, getting models painted. You can put as much planning in it as you want to, or not. Okay, medium sea grey for the skin, and again we're going to use this to bring up the flesh that we painted Basilicanum grey. Leave some of that Basilicanum showing in the recesses, and use this just to bring it up just nicely. Check the Games Workshop website for more references if you need to, so the legs, the inside of the arms where the shield and the bracer are, and his chin and cheeks to make him a happy chappy. There we go. What a guy. I'm an orc, I'm evil, grrr. Right, up next is some metallic, so we're going to take our Iron Warriors and we're going to basically almost feather this and use it as a sort of highlight over the black plate mail we've done on his shirt. So in downward strokes, so that you have plenty of that black Templar showing through on your recesses and underneath, just gently feather it downwards and you'll get that really nice kind of dark metallic iron with a really nice dark recess. You can also do this for the pick head, the rim of the shield, the bracer and the helmet. Now, the Mordor Orc range do have a lot of different textures, and each model's got its own very different kind of armament. So, again, check the website for references if you need to, but there's not really a lot you can go wrong with. Some things could be quilted leather, some things could be plate mail, some things could be scale. Just freeball it, have a good time, and don't worry if you're not sure about it, because you can always go over it. Don't worry, it'll be right. So don't forget to use the Iron Warriors on the bits you painted Basilicanum grey for the armour, so the helmet and the bracer and bits like that. When it comes to the rim of the shield, just be as delicate and as neat as you can. If you do make any mistakes and go onto the black, you can just use some black Templar again, or some Corvus black or Abaddon black to tidy it up. Wicked! Right, time to be brave. Grab some nice pale bone. I use this from Pro Acryl and just do a gentle little line across the teeth. Most of the orc models in this box have really nice prominent sculpted teeth, so it's very easy to do. Just make sure your brush isn't overloaded, do a few gentle little lines and bring up as you need to. And now we're on to the last bit, so we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade. Now I've thinned this down with a little bit of Flow Improver and Medium, just to reduce its strength and help it flow that little bit nicer. I use this as kind of a final step as an all-over glaze, just to bring everything together. It knocks those highlights down a little bit, it ties in the leather straps into the skin, makes him look a lot more unified in his colour scheme, and it also ties into his narrative of being a filthy, horrible, nasty little orcses. So, no delicacy, no finesse, get it on there, don't let it pull, use your brush to soak up any excess, and once this is done, he's pretty much there. So I blacked out the base, just ready for basing, and I'm going to take some of this model colour Scarlet, and I'm going to do a little Eye of Sauron. So make sure you don't have too much paint on your brush, and the best way to do this is to do 2 brackets. So start with the top bracket for the top of the eye. Once you've got that in place, do a bottom bracket for the bottom of the eye, and then from the centre of the top bracket to a point, do a filled in V. And again, loads of references for this. There's some great ones in the old Return of the King Army book from when the film came out and the game started getting in line with the films. And yeah, practice if you want to practice on your palette or an old base like we did with the Hand of Saruman for the Uruk-hai. It's very easy to do and it makes it look great. And here we have our finished Mordor Orc Warrior for Middle-earth strategy battle games. What a sick little dude. All in all, I could probably paint one of these in 5 minutes if that. So practice with one, then practice with a batch, and then in no time you'll have 24 of these guys ready to go. Thank you for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and nothing but love.